Hello and welcome to another Kamui Retrospective. I'm your host, Raleigh Williams. How's it going? Okay, enough small talk, let's get right into it. If you follow pool even a little bit, you've almost certainly heard of Earl the Pearl Strickland. He's undeniably one of the greatest players in the history of the game with over 100 championships to his name, but he's also a total wild card who sometimes smashes his cue on the ground.
Oh, he just broke his cue. He's just snapped his cue. Look at this. That's an action you see all the time from Strickland.
The combination of which is usually a lot of fun to watch. His real heyday was in the 80s and 90s, but at the ripe old age of 60, Earl was once again selected to represent Team America in the biggest competition in pool, the 2021 Mosconi Cup. Now, some people felt the decision to include Earl Strickland was based on his reputation for mayhem, but others insist it's because the man can still take anyone in the world to the woodshed on a pool table. And just when we were about to find out who was right, as if to confirm his ability to shake things up, Earl was forced to withdraw from the tournament due to a COVID exposure. He got all the way to England, but couldn't quite make it onto the table. Speaking of England, today's retrospective is from 18 years ago when Earl Strickland was competing on the world stage in England in the 2003 World 9-Ball Championship against hometown hero Steve Davis. And honestly, hometown hero is putting it super mildly. Not only was Steve Davis one of the most decorated snooker players of all time, he had also beaten Earl Strickland in the final game of the 2002 Mosconi Cup 8 months earlier to give England their first Mosconi win in 7 years.
Earl has missed this shot.
Oh my goodness! He feathered it! The Euro team can't believe it! Knocking the Americans! Davis can now step in and win the Mosconi Cup!
To the shores of Europe with the drop of this 9-ball.
Yes! Siree! Bob tag!
England loved Steve Davis, and the broadcasters knew this, so they spent a lot of time hyping up Steve Davis and replaying this moment from the 2002 Mosconi Cup over and over and over again. And I'm not just guessing, here's the promo for the Davis-Strickland match.
He's the 6-time world snooker champion. He's the reigning world pool champion. They've met before.
Earl has missed this shot.
Oh my goodness!
Davis came out on
The
top.
Americans go out!
Egos dented. Rivalries never forgotten.
And of course that was the angle the broadcasters went with. It's dramatic, it's got the whole England versus America thing going on, it's guaranteed to sell out a stadium with riled up fans, but it had the unintended consequence of really getting into Earl Strickland's head. And if you're thinking Earl is unreasonable to be so upset, imagine for a second being forced to relive one of the worst moments of your entire life in front of a crowd of people who are actively rooting against you right before you have to play another match against the very dude who beat you. I bet it would be, a little difficult to deal with. But also, Earl didn't exactly handle it super well. In a pre-match interview, Earl was not chill about it.
This whole event revolves around Davis, not me. Americans don't do that to the other players when they come to America. That's all I gotta say.
So the game starts up and Earl is tense. The crowd starts out pretty calm, and they even cheer politely as Earl walks in. But as the game progresses and Strickland and Davis exchange racks, things start to take a turn against Earl. Earl goes up 3-1 but fouls on a wide open 1-ball and proceeds to watch Steve Davis run 3 racks in a row, taking the lead and getting the crowd riled up to watch their golden boy beat America's greatest player and the current reigning world champion in another huge venue. Earl plugs his ears to drown out the cheers for Davis, but the English crowd smells blood and was ready to cheer louder and longer for every Davis shot, and when Earl stopped plugging his ears even for a second, they'd cheer again.
Presumably to stop the crowd.
Influencing him!
Now I want to stress again, this was the rivalry they'd been advertising. Davis was the statistical underdog, so I get the impulse to cheer on Steve Davis, but I also see how it might have been hard for Earl to deal with it while also trying to play world-class pool. And after a few more heckles from the crowd, Earl pops off with a sentence that's got an impressive curse to non-curse ratio. And of course, players aren't allowed to yell at the crowd, and they definitely aren't allowed to yell at the crowd while their opponent is actively playing. So referee Michaela Tabb does her job and tells Earl to be quiet.
Well, when he's at the table, you sit there and you be quiet.
To which Earl responds,
But there's an angry exchange now happening between him and Michaela.
and you definitely can't say shut up to a referee. And Michaela seems like she's about to give Earl the business, but she knew Earl had been taking shots from the crowd, and it seems like she was gonna give Earl a free pass just this once. But then Steve Davis saw what was going on, and he didn't like it one bit, and he decided no free pass. He was gonna use his timeout right then and just leave Earl to sit alone with the crowd for a few minutes. And the crowd proceeded to cheer and yell and taunt Earl for yelling at the the crowd and the referee, and it just looks bad. Now, I have no idea who is right in this instance. The argument could be made that taking a break right then is a pretty baller move. I mean, Steve isn't breaking any rules, he's standing up for the referee for getting yelled at by Earl, and he kind of gets the added bonus of messing with Earl's head. On the other hand, the crowd is kind of picking on Earl here, and maybe the referee could have tried harder to stop the heckling, so maybe Steve Davis is just taking advantage of an emotionally fraught situation while already winning 5-3. I don't know, I guess there's no clear-cut hero or villain, but that's just kind of what makes this game interesting. We also have this weird moment that I think got cut out of the original broadcast where Earl and this guy from the crowd chirp at each other, and then this guy stands up and he's looking like some kind of cross between Pancho Villa and Justin Bieber and does the whole like why I oughta fist gesture, which I genuinely did not think was a real thing. And this actually got me more on Earl's side because, come on, you can't threaten one of the players. I mean, I once went to an English soccer game or football game, as 99% of the world calls it, and the fans were merciless. So I guess maybe that dude thought it was okay to threaten the players, but like, you really shouldn't be able to do that. And it actually seems like the crowd feels bad because the next few shots Earl gets in, they clap for him, especially this shot.
Well, maybe he thinks
marginal difference.
the added distance gives added stability as he splays his fingers.
And Earl goes on to win 4 racks in a row to retake the lead 7-5. But then at some point it looks like we're gonna have another blow-up event.
Well, these people are calling me names and stuff.
I'll take care of the people, okay? Just
These people are ridiculous.
And Michaela has another quick word with Earl, and everybody maintains a barely controlled simmer. Earl goes for an aggressive bank and misses, and Davis clears the next 3 games to go ahead 8-7 in a race to 11, and things are starting to get a little more tense. But people are still cheering for both players, and Earl takes 2 more games to go up 9-8, but then scratches on a break and just looks like he accidentally ran his mother over in a pickup truck. Look at that. Oh, he's feeling it. Steve Davis clears that rack to tie it up 9-9, and then, instead of breaking the balls, he takes another break. Earl immediately gets mad because he's pretty sure you're only allowed to take 1 break per match.
Steve Davis has decided to take another break.
And Earl's face shows you what he thinks about it.
Earl's questioning whether timeouts are allowed.
The rule only allows you 1 timeout.
And he thinks they're only letting Davis take a second break because Davis is so famous and everyone loves him. I mean, remember this?
This whole event revolves around Davis, not me.
And people, please believe me when I say, I tried to figure out what the actual rule was. I searched the video archives featuring some extremely grainy footage, I looked for an old rule book, I even messaged the eventual winner of this 2003 World 9-Ball Championship, the great Torsten Homan, and I am ashamed to say I could not find the answer. Maybe you're out there and you know the answer? Leave it in the comments, baby. As of now, all I know is that Steve Davis took a potentially illegal but possibly not illegal break, came back to the table, breaking 9-9 to get himself on the hill, but it might have been a mistake to take a timeout because he broke the balls and left himself shooting at a very obscured 1 ball. After Davis misses the safety shot, Earl comes back to the table in absolute assassin mode, getting perfect on every ball and takes that game to go up 10-9 in a race to 11. Earl breaks.
He's got a ball down now. Will he get a shot on that 1 ball?
It's bobbled out and it's covered out.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Sinks the 1 ball, drains the 2 ball, only to hook himself on the 9 ball, and I have seen people show less emotion while being stabbed. Earl has the look of a man who just wants to walk straight into the ocean. But he gets himself together and swerves the cue ball around the 9 ball to drop the 4 in with position on the 5. And the crowd, to their credit, cheers for that shot. At this point, I think they're just excited to have witnessed such a crazy match. And then, disaster. And not just regular disaster, but a repeat of the shot he missed against Davis to lose the Mosconi Cup 8 months earlier.
Darn right words.
Earl has missed this shot.
Oh my goodness! He feathered it! The Euro team can't believe it! The orange onwards for the match.
He's bobbled it.
Mosconi Cup all over when he bobbled it green!
Same pocket, same jaw. My guess is Earl has never felt as bad as he felt in that exact moment.
Oh, he bobbled it green! And let Davis in! He lost the Mosconi Cup! Could that shot maybe lose his title?
Then Steve Davis gets the bridge out and
It's a race to 1 when this is done.
misses it, which causes Earl to leap out of his chair and shout, Earl was absolutely blitzed out of his mind with adrenaline, but had no problem closing the match out, eliminating Davis, only to immediately apologize to both Steve Davis and the referee Michaela Tab. What a match. What an emotional roller coaster for Earl Strickland. He undoubtedly had a horrible case of psychological whiplash to deal with, but it wasn't over because they immediately sat Earl down for a post-game interview, and he had this to say.
You're going to get a little bit of the crowd against you when they're playing against a local favourite like Steve Davis.
I don't blame Steve at all for my getting upset because the audience, I can't, you know what I mean? I just can't handle it sometimes, and I come unglued, but I'm lucky to play as well as I did, fighting that crowd. I don't blame him for not taking any TV breaks, and I guess that's why Steve maybe had to take an extra break or something. And I still don't, you know, my hat's off to Steve. He's one of the greatest talents I've ever seen. To play the way he does, and coming from snooker, is phenomenal. And I still ain't mad at the people. It's just, I want to be treated fairly too. I'm a good person inside. It's just when I play pool sometimes I'm a little bit different, that's all.
So it's a game of nuance. Did the good guy win? I don't know. Did the good guy lose? Again, I'm not sure. I guess my big conclusion is that pool is fun to watch. It requires amazing mental concentration, serious coordination, composure, and even when it gets a little ugly, it's still a beautiful game. Long live pool, baby. Okay, that's all I got for you today. I'm Raleigh Williams. See you next time.